It's a give or take, but all you do is take, and you like to speak on my name. And you flake when time gets slow low. You're real damn clown with no show. Get burned 6 feet down, mofo, cause I run this rap shit solo. Fast attraction, fast collection, use succession, full accession. Fake companions, will abandon, no distraction, no compassion. Mass attraction, fast collection, use succession, full accession. Fake companion, will abandon, no distraction, use a caption. Got back from a weird try with a big brag and a big smash, trying to make a huge stack. I'm spinning like a madman, feeling mad mass, going zigzag facts with no lag. Get bodied like Rugrats with a big head and a bitch fat damn.
I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I did not mean to show you Jimmy G, because he is no longer with the San Francisco 49ers. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Yeah, it's me again. Yes, I'll still hang out with J-Mac. Yes, he's still part of U3. Yes, I still talk to Sean. That's my guy. Those guys have been my best friends for the last 24 years of my life. So no matter what happens, yeah. Well, there is a lot to talk about. And why am I going on this stream? Why am I doing this right now? I have no fucking clue, honestly. I talked to Sean yesterday. I talked to J-Mac earlier today in reference to the Jameis Winston and Shannon Sharpe, if you would debate or hate, whichever one it is. But either way, it's good to see you guys once again. It's your boy Cisco. I know, it's just crazy. Nicholas Brown, bro. Hey man, brother, we have got to buy you a bottle of something if you drink. Sir, you have been around through True TV, Real Takes or Fake Debates. J-Mac had to go to work. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. And supporting us through U3 Sports Talk. If I could ever buy you a bottle of something, sir, whether it be water or whether it be some fine cognac, sir, I would definitely give you that. Hopefully split it 3 ways between Sean and myself and J-Mac, of course. But yeah, I'm sorry. You got the light skinned brother this time. I apologize. I'm gonna go ahead and drop it took me, I was literally going for 5 minutes and didn't know I was live. That's how long it's been. That's how long it's been. What's been up, right? Nothing. Working. Traveling. Doing a lot of traveling. Jesus. Same thing with J-Mac, man. Our schedules, we just couldn't keep up. It was just the demands of the job, the JOB. Sean, he took on new responsibilities as well. He's moving up in the corporate world, I think begrudgingly, if you don't mind. He doesn't mind me saying that, but we'll see though. All right, so there's the link. So we had a lot we can talk about. A couple things. One, Nick Saban retires. Is this the end of Alabama football? I hope to God it is. I'm so tired of Roll Tide. I'm tired. I doubt it. Whatever. Oh, shout out to my homegirl Tip. I'm not even sure if you guys can hear me right now. Can you guys even hear me? I don't even know how this thing works. Sheesh. That's bad. Either way it goes, 49ers and the Ravens, who'd have thunk it? The 2 number 1 seeds, maybe they'll meet up in the Super Bowl, and maybe we'll be able to pluck the feathers off the fucking Ravens. Hey, Nicholas, bro, hey, I owe you a bottle, sir. I owe you a bottle of something. I don't know what it is. Water, orange juice, cognac, whiskey, bourbon. If you haven't tried it, try Basil Hayden. It's a $30 bottle of bourbon or whiskey. It's pretty cheap, but you have to be smooth. Not bad. 49ers, hey, who'd have thunk it? That guy Purdy, he looking pretty good. That's all I can say about that. I don't know what to tell you guys, man. I do not know what to tell you guys. Hopefully, I'll have some people joining in here shortly. Maybe some surprise visits. I have no idea. Talk a little boxing. We will talk a little boxing. I think, hey, sir, good to see you guys again. Make sure you guys, as always, continue to support SB's channel, SB and Sean's channel, if you would. Real takes over fake debates. True to King TV. All those guys, really, honestly, the guys that have been trying to really hit the grind and introduce independent media into the sports world, right? Other than that, though, 49ers, we're looking really good. I am concerned though. We do have an issue when it comes to our defense. We are not where we were, right? We're toward the bottom half of the league when it comes to sack. This is coming from we had additional boost to our defensive line. Of course, defensive player of the year, Nick Bosa. We have all pros, Greenlaw and Warner. Javarius Ward really has surprised me as far as his play. But we are not where we need to be on the defense. So we have to outscore people. And then the emergence of Brock Purdy, who'd have thunk it, right? Who'd have thunk it? Mr. Irrelevant leading the way. On the other side of the house, you have the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, nothing but success. Really proving people wrong. Is now probably the most dangerous weapon outside of Tyreek Hill in the NFL. Why do I say that? Well, if you watched any football in the last 17, 18 weeks and you watched the Ravens game, you would absolutely know that he is now more of a pocket passer. He's more of a complete quarterback, and he still has that 4.3, 4.2, 4 faster than me speed, and everybody else on the field. That's crazy. So salute to Tiffany. I talked to her, I think, last week as well on SB Stream. So she's doing awesome. Great job to that. I cannot deny that. Pete's last dance. Pete Carroll is out at Seahawks. Now that's bittersweet because we finally figured him out from a 49ers perspective, a la Coach Shanahan. So I'm interested in seeing who they hire, if they hire in-house, if they stay with the defensive specialists, if they go more offense. Curious about the future of Geno Smith. He should be there for at least for the next 2 years, but they have a really good team. They're up and coming. Jeez, they have great offensive tackles. Really good offensive tackles. They have the running back is solid. Obviously, they have DK Metcalf, who's a nutcase at times, and can really get his team or put his team in a precarious situation. The Rams, I think, are done. They're on the downhill. They have as long as they have their coach, they should be all right. There should be nothing. There should be they should be in good hands. But you know how it is, right? What happened to the Chiefs? I don't care, but I'm happy. I am absolutely happy at those guys. Well, I can't say yet because with Patrick Mahomes, aka light skin Supreme Brother number 1, he's a bad man. He can do a lot. You never can count him out. Along with Coach Reeves, the defensive coordinator, those guys are really good. So you never can count them out. What you can count on is probably the Bills not making it. What you can count on is the AFC South not putting up much of a struggle. Okay, awesome. But it is what it is. And do we have to talk about the Cowboys? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But do they scare me? Absolutely. Absolutely they do. I think we still beat them. I still think we beat the the Cowboys and the Eagles if we go to the NFC Championship and beat them there. What scares me to death, honestly, is the Rams. Ladies and gentlemen, you understand what you potentially have here. I got a visitor. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you may know this man. The original founder of U3 Sports Talk. Hey, man, Sean. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, to let people know, we talk multiple times a week, at least once a week.
Yeah.
Every time. So for those that might think that there are some, standing beefs or whatever like that between myself and Sean, no. Between J-Mac and Sean, no. They're grown-ass men. and we happen to part ways. So, our brother from different mother. First of all, how you been?
I'm good, man. Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year to everybody out there, man. And yeah, man. Hope y'all are good, man.
For sure. Oh, by the way, brother, did you
I love it. I love it. You know, I gotta add it to the collection. You know, I gotta add it. So don't be shocked if you see me with it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You know, I almost forgot you're a Yankees fan. I absolutely hate the Yankees. You know that.
I know.
All right.
I know. But hey, listen, at least, you know, for your sake, we didn't get Otani. You know, we didn't get Yamamoto. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is, you know.
And they're moving to Los Angeles or Las Vegas.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, but I mean, you know, yeah.
All right, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get right into it, my man. I don't know how long we're going to be on. I know, Sean, you have your midnight hour. Can you go ahead and describe it to the people for me? I'm sorry for talking fast. If you don't remember, I do talk fast. But, sir, tell us what you'll be doing tonight.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll be in Clubhouse and for Music Lovers Only. Do Quiet Storm every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard, 10 to midnight. So, yeah, I'll be doing that. So, you know, sports, music, and you know, sometimes they'll come together, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so yeah.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah, so salute to Darius. Good to see you, brother.
My man, 50 grand. Absolutely, bro. So Nick Saban retired. Are you shocked? Was it expected? Was it because of the NIL stuff? Sean, please provide us with your opinion on this one, bro.
You know, I think it's interesting. You know, everybody's been talking the last couple of years about him retiring and when he's going to retire, and it seemed like this year he was dropping little hints that it was coming sooner than later. But that said, I think also, you know, the changing landscape of college football with the transfer portal, with NIL, obviously where we're headed in terms of some of the conference realignments and things like that. It just seemed like, you know, he was, you know, ready to move forward. And, you know, and to be frank, I mean, what does he have left to prove, you know, in college football? He is the greatest college football head coach of all time. I don't think anybody will dispute that. And, you know, and certainly, you know, I think he's earned the right in the, you know, this latter part of his life, you know, obviously to do what he wants. I hope personally he does television. If you've never seen him when he does, you know, he's doing an analysis on ESPN or whatever during college football playoff or during bowl season when Alabama was done or out. He's really good on television. Surprisingly good, kind of like Belichick.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it'll be interesting to see what he ultimately does. But yeah, you know, it's you know, I think it's what we're seeing is, you know, kind of the turning of the page. We saw this, you know, 15 years ago with you know, Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno and others. I think, you know, we're seeing that not just in college but also in the NFL. You know, so you know, I think it's just time, you know, and it's time for, you know, everybody, you know, everybody's story, you know, eventually comes to an end. And again, I don't think he had anything left to prove at Alabama or in college football as a head coach. I think he's done more than enough, and he's brought, you know, more than enough notoriety to it the last 17 years. And so, you know, he's certainly I think he'll be missed in terms of, you know, some of the sidelines and some of the press conferences. But again, I hope he does television because he would be great. I think every network should be calling him right now to be on a pre and post game and halftime show because he's that good.
Yeah, he has an unexpected personality.
Yeah,
compared to what is shown today, right?
Yeah.
What he showed on the field and what he shows like during certain press conferences. And the fact that he's been on Pat McAfee show a little bit, he's been doing a little more TV that way, I guess. He's been more regular on that. I think that's more of a recruiting tidbit. But then I guess my next question for you then is like, what happens to Alabama now then? As far as recruiting, are they falling off? Do you still put them, potentially, top 5 still as far as recruitment is concerned? What is your opinion on that?
I think it's Alabama football, right? I think Alabama went through, when you talked about Bear Bryant to Nick Saban, obviously in between that time, there was a certain drop off, if you will. But even then, they did win a national championship in '92. Mm-hmm. I think Gene Stallings was the head coach. They beat Miami in the Sugar Bowl to win the national championship. I think he's, and this is what I'll make the comparison to, Cisco. You really think about it. So Saban was at LSU before he went to Miami, to coach the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. How much success has LSU had since Saban has left LSU?
Well, they won.
You're
right. I'm sorry.
Coaches. They've been in the national conversation a lot more.
Right.
I think Saban helped lay that foundation, if we're being honest, because before that, LSU college football was kind of that, sleeping giant, I guess, if you can call it that.
Yeah, they always have a resurgence every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, they won with Les Miles, they won with Ed Orgeron. They're in the national conversation with Brian Kelly, and not to disparage any coach before Nick Saban, but he kind of put them on the national map in that way, and he did a great job of really building Michigan State's college football program. When you think about it, he had a lot more time at Alabama. I got to think that the infrastructure is very much set. That said, I think there'll probably be calling a couple of guys who have jobs. The coach at Oregon comes to mind immediately. Dan Lanning, DeBoer, the coach at Washington, who was just in the national championship game. They're probably calling him. Wouldn't surprise me if they call him Mike Norvell at Florida State as well. Obviously, I think Dabo Sweeney would, given his ties to Alabama, would make some sense. My personal hope is they call Dennis Allen for the New Orleans Saints and try to get him, because he needs to go. And, no, in all seriousness, no, I think they'll still be relevant. They'll get a big name to come in there. But whoever it is got to come in and be okay following, the legend. And, a lot of guys don't like to follow legends. So
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a perfect segue. Actually, there's 2 different segues we can do here, actually. But I'm gonna say that part for last, because we've already talked about it privately, I would say. But since we're on the topic of college football, Michigan, right? My grandfather's alma mater. He was in the band. He was actually in the band from Michigan.
Oh wow!
And that was in the 1930s or 40s.
Mm. Yeah.
But speaking of Michigan, does Jim Harbaugh stay in college? Does he move on? And if so, what landing spot would you want? I know where I want him at. It's not in the NFC, I guarantee that much. Go ahead.
So I think he moves on. I think he, proved, went back, went to college to prove he could build a winner in college. He's done that, obviously. I think if I think about, there are 2 spots I think for him specifically. And I think they're both in the AFC West. I think about the Chargers and I think about the Raiders. The issue with the Chargers and why they may not be as attractive as they, going to have some serious salary cap issues to deal with. They're about $80 million over the cap, if I'm not mistaken, going into the offseason. So that roster is probably going to look a little different next year. But obviously they have, what everybody deems is the most important piece. They have that foundational piece at quarterback with Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And seeing the success that Jim Harbaugh has had with quarterbacks of all types. Certainly think he would have similar success with Justin Herbert. But the Raiders, I think, are more intriguing just because I think he would get a chance to really build it.
Right.
They obviously don't have their franchise quarterback on the roster. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, we know. I mean, I don't have to go there with you. You know what that is.
I made a whole video about that.
Yeah. And then Aiden O'Connell. I think Aiden O'Connell showed some flash, but do you go into next season saying he's your guy? I don't know. I think they certainly will, give it consideration, but I think they will sign a veteran guy in the offseason, depending on who the head coach is. So, those are the two places. Probably the third place I would really think about, and then just being very honest, if I were him, I would really consider Atlanta.
I think you just want to go watch some games, bro. Honestly.
Yeah, no, it's just, but I look at Atlanta and I look at just the talent, some of the talent they have. When you look at Bijan Robinson and obviously Kyle Pitts and Drake London, if they could get just good to just above average quarterback play, and they can have the right coach who understands how to manage games and understands they'll be fine, because it's not like that division is a runaway for any team. So I think Atlanta would make a lot of sense. And obviously, I don't know. And I think also too, just thinking about it from his perspective, does he really want to coach in the AFC where he's going to have to see his brother in the conference championship potentially, or would he rather see his brother in the Super Bowl like they did, many years ago? So I think the NFC might be a little more appealing, and I would say Atlanta, Washington could be, but I think Atlanta, for me, I would have Atlanta above Washington just because they got some better pieces there right now.
Yeah, I guess I would discount the Magic's influence on trying to bring Jim Harbaugh there. Very good point about obviously about Atlanta. Like I said, that goes against my NFC grain right there. That's Anti, brother. I haven't heard from Anti in a minute, man. I'm sorry, I haven't even seen his name cross field. What's up, brother? Okay, Paso mi negro amigo. I'm in Texas, so I just learned that last week, bro. So forgive me. But I think the Raiders actually have a more attractive situation, and that the ownership won't get in the way, and they'll if he ain't got it, he'll borrow it from somebody. So I'll put the Raiders slightly ahead of the Chiefs. Excuse me, of the Chargers. AFC South is pretty sewn up. I don't think I think they're pretty happy with the Colts. Maybe the Jets. Like you said, it goes against the whole AFC versus my brother stuff like that as well. So I get you on that one. I get you. All right, bub. You and I are on opposite sides of this spectrum. I just got a question. And I got a question for the chat, too. Honestly, what I need to see is, do you guys think Shannon Sharpe is wrong on his takes on Jameis Winston? Everything from his nightcap stuff to along with this with his take on ESPN. Now, let me see if I can play this correctly. Forgive me, guys, if I have no sound. Yes, we're going to get hit by YouTube, but I don't plan to be back on here. So please forgive me. Okay, here we go.
Jameis Winston today.
Did you guys hear it or not?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, let me try again. I didn't know that.
I would not want him on my team. That's loser's mentality. And people will say, well, Shannon, what about when Dan Marino fake spiked the ball or Peyton Manning? They were not in victory formation. If you get down, the defense is conceding. If you want to run the ball, let the defense line up. Don't you fool them. Think there's a victory formation and then drive off the ball. If I'd have been on that team, let me tell you what, I'd have jumped offside on purpose. There's a mentality that you got to have if you want to play winning football. Jameis Winston has a loser's mentality. That's why they didn't win in Tampa. That's why Tom Brady came there, took the same team, and went to the Super Bowl. Look at what Baker Mayfield did with basically the same team, got him in the playoffs, something that Jameis Winston couldn't do. I would cut it. Cut Jameis Winston today.
Sir, your response.
You mean you want me to go?
Well, let me.
Okay, so let me start off by saying, first and foremost, this is why everybody who talks shouldn't have a platform.
Uh-oh.
What I heard there was a bunch of hot air. Okay, let's clear a couple things up. Right.
Okay. So, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
No. First of all, Tom Brady did not take the exact same team Jameis Winston had the year before to the Super Bowl. There was no Rob Gronkowski on that team. There was no Antonio Brown on that team. There was no Tristan Wirfs on that team. There was no Leonard Fournette on that team. So let's get that out of the way right now.
Okay.
Right.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm bad.
That's first. Okay. That's first.
Uh-huh.
Second, a loser's mentality.
Yeah.
A loser's mentality. I'm not sure exactly what that means because go ahead.
No, but so we should kind of segment that out, right? We should say, okay, let's know with the lose mentality piece, the same team piece, right?
Right.
But let's try. I would like to kind of put it. So back to the same team. You're right. He didn't have a Rob Gronkowski, and for what it's worth, Antonio Brown, when he was on the field, in his right mind, he was top 5 wide receiver. But you had these other 2 guys out there named Godwin and Mike Evans as well.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Defense. I don't know. Todd Bowles wasn't there during that time as well. So the defense, I would say, maybe took a step forward. But in essence, he had the exact same team. But I've heard you say this before. What he didn't have was a head coach that said, "Hey, let's look at what you did well here, and let's incorporate that to our system." I get that, right? But Jameis Winston was a top 5 pick.
He was the number 1 pick.
Oh, okay. Number 1 pick overall. Okay, I got you there, sir.
Yeah. Now,
Go ahead.
let's be clear. And I've said this many times before, and I'll say it again. When you're the number 1 pick of the draft, regardless of sport, unless that team traded up for you to get you at number 1, you're probably going to the worst situation in the league, which that's what Tampa was. They won 2 games the year before Jameis got there. The next year they win 6 games. They were actually 6-6 going into the last part of the season. Quan Alexander gets suspended, right? Who was the starting middle linebacker, and the defense completely falls off, right? So they end up going 6-10, and they end up firing Lovie Smith, the coach who wanted Jameis Winston.
Agreed.
And what we always talk about, Cisco, when your head coach or your GM or your ownership changes, the quarterback, regardless of contract, is on the clock.
Yeah.
Because whoever comes in has no tie to that guy. Zero tie to that guy. We're seeing it with Sean Payton in Denver right now. He has no tie to Russell Wilson. He don't give a crap about Russell Wilson, clearly.
I mean, Russell Wilson hasn't shown too much either.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, all I'm saying is that, there's a lot of foundational pieces and a lot of organizational things that factor into it, right? I get it. Everybody's going to say, oh, quarterback. Let the media give you that. But I just literally saw a quarterback on Monday night win a national championship game going 10 for 18.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. But, if it was 1995, that'd be a great game.
Right, it'd be a great game. In today's world, it's not. So, all I'm saying is that's one piece of it. But here's the other part of it. and this is the part that this is where I think Shannon missed the mark on his argument.
Okay.
They told Dennis Allen, hey, Jamal has not had a touchdown all year. We're on the 1 yard line. We want to get him a touchdown. Now, how many teams, I'm just trying to remember, and as long as you've been watching football, how many teams have you seen get the ball on the 1 yard line and say, oh, yeah, we're going to take the knee at the 1?
Yeah. So what I have seen is that either a wide receiver or perhaps a running back. I have seen, doesn't mean it happens every time.
Right.
The blowout situation, they'll stop at the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, and just let the clock run out.
Right.
I've seen that, not necessarily get the ball, whatever, I got you after an interception, right? Because it was after interception, right?
Yes, it was an interception, return to the 1 yard line.
Okay. Game's over.
Yeah.
The game is over at that point in time. So go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So, and again, had Jamal Williams not, been who led the league in touchdown rushes the year before. He had 17 rushing touchdowns. 17 rushing touchdowns in Detroit last season. He has none in New Orleans this year. And apparently he's supposed to be like this great teammate, great guy, comes to work every day, brings a great attitude, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And you're like, hey, we're on the 1 yard line. Let's get this guy one touch. Now, I'm not comparing him to Walter Payton. Please understand what I'm saying here. I'm not comparing him to Walter Payton in terms of the caliber of player.
Right, sure.
But you and I are slightly old enough to remember when the Bears played the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And how much uproar there was that Walter Payton did not get the ball on the 1 yard line, even though the game was over. Walter Payton did not get the ball on the 1 yard line. They gave it to Refrigerator Perry. Right?
And I got you.
And the game was over. It was the final score was 26-10. Game had been over. But it's like, hey, this is the last game of the season. We're not going to play any more games this year. Let's get this guy a touchdown for all he's done. Now, again, with Walter Payton, you're talking about all he had done in his Bears career for Jamal. Yeah, you're talking about what he meant to that locker room and that team this season and the fact that he had not gotten a touchdown. Right?
Okay. So
that's, to me, what it was really about. Now, I understand doing it out of victory formation, right? Because victory formation, you're telling the opposing team, hey, you know what? We're done. But here's the other side of the part. Here's the other part of the problem. Say they audible to power I. Say they audible to run out of the pro set. Dennis Allen was like, what are you doing? Time out. He was taking time out. They did it in spite of Dennis Allen. Because as I've said to you, and I'll say to anybody else, anybody who's watched the Saints the last 2 years realized that Dennis Allen couldn't manage a damn Dairy Queen. They don't like him. They don't respect him. He ain't a good coach.
Understand.
So, and the fact that, again, had it been the previous coach, who everybody knows will literally coach with 2 middle fingers up in the air like Sean Payton, Jamal Williams would have gotten that ball with no problem. So that's the culture that the Saints have built under Sean Payton they want to maintain under Dennis Allen that they have not maintained the last 2 years because Dennis Allen can't find his balls.
Got it. Understand.
Okay.
So Taj, real quick, Taj, what's up, man? Welcome back, bro. I don't know how long we're gonna do.
Oh
this
my
thing.
goodness! Oh, we back.
I wouldn't say we're back, bro, but it's good to have. It's good.
Well, we're not like back yet, but it's good to see you three again.
Yeah, it's been a busy week. So, Taj, I don't know if you were able to hear what Sean was saying in reference to Shannon versus Jameis. And Shannon said he would cut Jameis today, no matter what. He'll come today. What are your thoughts, sir, on that particular?
I mean, honestly, I don't have many thoughts on that, to be honest with you.
No worries.
No.
But let me rebuttal. from if you don't mind, guys, I'm gonna rebuttal Sean's argument. All right,
Uh-huh.
he made several key points. All right, the Bears and the Patriots, right? I understand we're not comparing, but what we don't want to lose, what we don't want to lose sight of is the one key thing. They didn't line up a victory formation. They didn't say, hey, you know what? We're going to concede. Sean, you and I have been on the other side of where we hire people, right? If I hire somebody based upon your resume and you don't necessarily fit in the particular position or status, but I think you're a good character and I think you're a good guy, right? Or you're good for the team, but I'm going to have to move you here because right now you're not producing in the job that I hire you for. Fair?
Okay.
Right.
All right. So, 2, if you are my leader on the field, or if you're my lead, if you don't mind, as a network engineer, we have leads, whatever like that. We have specific guys that we go to say, hey, look, you're not necessarily in charge of the department, but you're my lead. You're my voice in the absence of me not being there, whatever like that. All right. I don't understand the benefit of doing that outside of showing the whole world that you do not care, right? That's like me telling, I would say that you just don't care. That, hey, there is no benefit to him getting a touchdown. There was no benefit or whatever like that, because like you said, if he would have audible Dennis Allen at that time, or any coach would say, oh, what are we doing? Because you don't know the type of relationship that Dennis Allen has with the guy who just got fired from the Falcons. You don't know that. You don't know who they are. So my point is one, you went against the person who's in charge, right? You're there to do your job, do your job. He called a specific play. If I am the Falcons, or if I am the Saints, I agree with wholeheartedly, Shannon Sharp. You're fired. Why? Because you've shown that either you don't care about this organization and or the leadership. Whether or not you have a problem with your direct supervisor, I don't care. What you did show is that you have no respect for the organization, and because of that, sir, you have got to go.
So let me say 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, I know you're a 49ers fan, obviously. Taj, you're a Giants fan.
Right.
Taj, who would you say the Giants' greatest rival is?
Greatest rival, it'd be the Eagles.
The Eagles. Fisco, who would you say the greatest rival is for the Niners?
Recent memory, Cowboys. Cowboys are number 1, but we can say Rams. We can say Seahawks. Really, Seahawks is the people. Yeah, Seahawks. Yeah,
the team that you could go. Your team could go 2-15, but those 2 wins better be against this particular rival.
Yeah, if I said before that if the stadium collapsed on everybody there, I wouldn't cry.
So, right. So picture Saints and Falcons being the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It is literally bitter, right? The Saints don't give a F about the Falcons, and the Falcons don't give a F about the Saints. Never have, never should. Now, the problem, and again, what I saw was the other day, because again, I understand the head coach made a call. I get it. And I'm saying the problem is, and the reason why the team collectively decided to do it was because they saw it as, hey, here's an opportunity to get this guy who's been a good soldier all season, his first touchdown of the season. Now, again, had he had a touchdown or had he scored all year, different combination. And the way I compare it is that kid, if you played sports growing up, you coach sports, it's that kid who comes to practice every day, may not be the most talented, may not be, the star athlete, but the kid who comes every day and busts their hump because they just want to play and they want to be a part of the team, and they hadn't scored all season. And you say, you know what? I know we're winning, we're blowing this game out. Go ahead and get one. As a coach, you want that for just that confidence, or or just to let that kid know, I've seen what you've been doing all year, and we appreciate it. That's what I think they wanted from Dennis Allen in the moment that he didn't give them, and that's why I think the team, led by Jameis, overrode him, and why. And at the end of the game, when they're in the locker room, every single player is backing Jameis and what they did and what those 10 other guys did, right? Because the other side of it is everybody's putting it on Jameis, but if those other 10 guys don't do their job, he doesn't score, even in victory formation, because they still got to block. So I think that's the first part. I think the second part is, and I'm going to speak from the Jameis perspective for just a moment. Dennis Allen never wanted Jameis Winston. When he became the head coach, they tried to trade for Deshaun Watson. They remember there was like 4 teams in the running for Deshaun Watson. They tried to trade for Deshaun Watson. Excuse me. Yeah, Falcons, Browns, Panthers, and Saints. Jameis was on his way to Indianapolis. Colts had sent the plane down, and he was on his way to the Colts. When the Saints missed out on Deshaun Watson, it's like, oh yeah, we got to get Jameis back. We got to get Jameis back. So they rushed to get Jameis back, signed him to a 2-year deal, blah, blah, blah. Jameis got hurt last year, was told, hey, sit out. As soon as you're healthy, you'll get your job back. By Dennis Allen. Got healthy, never got his job back. Not because Andy Dalton was tearing it up, because Dennis Allen never wanted Jameis in the first place. He lied multiple times in press conferences about Jameis' situation. When Jameis, who is someone who never speaks out against a coach, spoke about the situation, that was the first time I'd ever heard him go against his coach, right, in public. So that told me right there, there is no symbiosis there. There's no trust there. There's no relationship there, right? And you know this. If your head coach and quarterback have zero relationship or do not care for each other, what we saw on Sunday is going to happen. Particularly when, again, the situation was Jamal Williams hadn't scored a touchdown all season, and they want to get him his first touchdown. And it just happens to be against your hated rivals who you want to beat 100-0 if you can. You don't care about running the score against them. You don't care. The Falcons. So I think that's part of this conversation. And again, do I think Jameis Winston will be back with the Saints? It's highly doubtful he'll be back with the Saints, right? Because Dennis Allen still has a job somehow, some way. Nick Saban out of a job, Pete Carroll out of a job, Mike Vrabel out of a job. Dennis Allen still got a job. Doesn't make any sense to me.
That Eberflus still got a job.
Yeah. And again, Eberflus, I think, is a little different conversation because I think their expectations were to see some growth. The Bears did play well the last 6 weeks.
But they did, yeah, they did. They did get better, you know.
So,
yeah.
So, and and again, I think Eberflus is a different scenario. But a lot of people thought Dennis Allen should not have that job.
So I don't understand. I understand the comparison between what you're saying as far as a coach and a kid and stuff like that. You guys, he's been showing up to practice all day. He's been busting his ass. Let's go ahead and get him. This guy's a multimillionaire who's a professional in the NFL. All right. He was with the Lions last year, who had 10 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns? I'm not sure, right? Whatever the case may be, guess what? He didn't fit the bill. They wanted him to be a blocker. Okay. Hey, man, it's a paycheck. That's it. I can't see it if me being a person who happens to be in charge of personnel, if one of my engineers tell me, hey, during the heat of something going down or whatever, they're trying to fix something, and I gave specific directions, hey, look, do X, Y, and Z in order so we can get this thing done and get it fixed. But in the heat of that battle, that engineer says, hey, you know what, Cisco? I couldn't do X, Y, and Z. I had to do ABC. Okay, no worries. At that point in time, as long as it makes sense to me and it worked, hey, I got you back. I got you back no matter what. But the fact that I gave a specific directive and that there was no consequential benefit for you to do anything for you to make that move to ABC or Jameis Winston, there was no consequence to that. There was no benefit to the team. You can say what you want about the rivalry. These are grown men who are getting ready to go home and go spend thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars on their girlfriends, their wives. Some of them got boys, whatever. They're about to spend it all on that. They really don't. What I see though is that Jameis Winston literally talked himself out of a fucking job. I ain't talking about the Saints. I'm talking about future opportunities, because to the person's eye, to a guy who's management, I know for a fact I'm gonna call. The coach said, "Hey, look, that wasn't the play call. We didn't try and do that. Whether it's a lie or not, we didn't do that." So that tells me, as a person who wants to hire people, hey, you have a tendency to go rogue. You have a tendency to go against the grain for no apparent benefit. There was no need for it. You take the knee, hey, you know what? No worries. Or you call the timeout, right? Because you said that everybody was on board. That's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt everybody, all 11 guys on the field were on board. I doubt it, but usually majority win. Let's say majority. I don't think we could. I don't think they asked all 11 personnel on offense. I'm not sure they did. But you could have called the timeout, right? And went and said, "Hey, coach, let's discuss this real quick. You know he's a hard worker. Blah 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 blah. Hey, myself, some of the offense members of the offense want to get the guy this touchdown because of what he did, the sacrifices that he made.
And
I have no problem with that."
Yeah. And I think that happened before the play. And
we can't do things. We only have what we see.
What I'm saying is he said as much in the interview. He said in the post-game interview, he said, we talked. I said, hey, can we get this guy one, before the play? He said, no, I want victory.
That's it.
So again,
he's working.
Whether again, I don't want to play the game of who's right, who's wrong, because again, I think the only issue I had with it, Cisco, and to be honest with you, the only issue I had with it was done out of victory. That's the only issue I had with it.
That's Shannon's issue.
Right.
That's his whole entire issue.
No, but again, I understand why it was done out of victory because of Dennis Allen. It wasn't done out of victory because I think they necessarily wanted to do it out of victory. I think they did it out of victory because had they come out in a different formation other than victory, GA would have called a timeout. So it was literally, again, it's the old misdirection. It's the now you see me, now you don't. I think that's what it was, type of situation. Now, also, I think what has to be, factored in, and again, I was looking around, and I've done a lot of listening and hearing folks talk about it, particularly former players. 95% of former players were actually okay with it, because their other part of it was, I think the reason why DA responded the way he did was because Arthur Smith blew up. If Arthur Smith doesn't blow up post game, or during the post game handshake, then I think we're having a different conversation. I don't even think DA even brings it up. It's because Arthur Smith blew up at the post game, during the post game handshake or whatever, that DA brought it up, and most players were very much against him apologizing to Arthur Smith and to the Falcons for it, because it seemed like, again, publicly apologize. Why are you apologizing to them?
So I guess to me, that's like saying, hey, man, Sean, I work for you, right? You tell me to do certain things. All right. Now, whether the ownership, whatever like that, and for lack of a better, your company, I work for you, you have a rival, but there's usually some sort of mutual respect, especially when it comes to sports and especially when it comes to football, however it may be, right? But then all of a sudden now I do something, and now you, sir, have to stand on the actual carpet. You have to answer the questions. That's not a very good feeling. So at that point in time, are you going to tell me that I'm not that hey, look, are you going to say that you would deny it, or you would say, or you would take full responsibility for that? Mind you, your company's not doing too well. Mind you, you might be looking for another job here shortly.
So,
and you're on the grandest of stages, sir.
So here's the thing I learned in PLDC. Right?
Don't be called that no more, brother. But go ahead.
Yeah, I know, but it was called that when I went. That's how long ago it was. All right.
And did you do it at Fort Knox or Fort Bragg?
Fort Knox.
Yeah, me too. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, Todd, PLDC is Primary Leadership Development course, right? It's the 30-day course you have to go to in the Army when you get promoted.
NCO Academy, when you go from specialist to sergeant.
Right. Right. So we're in class, and this guy asked a question, and he's like, asked the instructor, he's like, well, what do you do, when you get your ass chewed? And the guy who was teaching the course, he gave an answer I'll never forget. He said, listen, part of leadership is you're going to make decisions that people are not going to agree with, and people above you are not going to agree with, and they're going to chew your ass. Go to McDonald's, get yourself a Big Mac, you'll get it back. That's leadership. It's just the way it is. Sometimes you're just going to have to fall on the sword. It's just the way it is. Now, how you handle it behind closed doors is a whole different animal. But in public, I got to have your back. Even if I didn't agree with you, what you did, I got to have your back, right? In public, because again, if you're under my supervision or under my whatever leadership, that ain't their business to know that you and I don't see eye to eye. That ain't their business to know that you and I didn't agree with that. That's between you and I. It's like when you see a coach, and you see it all the time. Offensive coordinator will make a call doesn't work well. Head coach didn't call it, offensive coordinator called it. But in the press conference, head coach said that was my call. It's my call. We saw something there, blah, blah, blah. It's generally coach speak, but it's him having his OCs back. Now, behind closed doors, they may be like, well, what the F were you doing? What the F were you thinking? We just saw today a defensive coordinator for the Giants literally cuss out a head coach.
Yeah.
He fired too.
Wayne Martindale.
Yeah. So that happened behind closed doors. It didn't happen in public, but it got public because, nobody keeps secrets anymore. So all I'm saying is I think the situation could have been handled better all the way around. I understand why people say, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I'm not saying that. And again, the big issue I had was it was done out of victory because Dennis Allen's an effing idiot. That's why it was done out of victory.
Well, I got you. You have your personal thoughts about your supervisor. You can have your personal thoughts about Dennis Allen. I understand. But is there any other sport that is so dependent on the man to your left, to your right, in front of you, behind you? Is there any other sport besides football that is that dependent to where everything has to be in sync for one play to work? Everything from the line to the play call, to the line, to the quarterback, to the wide receiver, to whatever it is. Those 11 guys have got to be in sync. And they have got to be in sync with their coaching staff, with their head coach, offensive coordinator, however you want to do it. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think it's fair.
And do you think Jameis Winston's actions showed that?
I think it showed that he was in line with the 10 other guys on the field. They were not the coaching staff.
The other guys.
Yeah.
They had people support him. I agree.
Yeah.
But they didn't talk to every other guy.
No, what I'm saying is, again,
yeah,
I'm just talking about the 11 guys on the field.
Right? Sure.
The 11 guys on the field, if they didn't agree, if they don't do their job, it doesn't work. So those 11 guys, to your point, had to agree. Now, again, coaching staff is a whole different animal. And again, I think, part of this conversation is, I don't want to bring a racial component into it,
Go ahead.
but I do believe had that been Brett Favre, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Brett Favre's a fucking okay. Maybe Brett Favre, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes,
All quarterbacks.
except for Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Maybe Baker Mayfield may get some flack for that.
I don't know if he does.
Nah, but they don't really like Baker.
I don't know if he does. I think there are certain guys who are victims of media derangement syndrome, and Jameis Winston is one of them.
Okay, so we spoke about you brought up the 85 Bears, right? 85 Bears versus Patriots Super Bowl, right? Cool. All right. So you guys have to understand, and this is where Sean and I really kind of show our age, if you would, but we remember that time of football, you know. And I believe this is where Shannon Sharpe comes into play. And I think this isn't more personified, or this is personified in one of my favorite all-time rants, one of my all-time favorite NFL people. I did watch his one-on-one with Joe Buck, and I thought it was excellent. For those that don't know what I'm talking about Mike Singletary. This is when he was a coach for the 49ers. It was at this time that not Jameis Winston, but Vernon Davis, if you come to San Fran, you may get burned by VD. Pretty cool, right? But at that time, he was, he had messed up. He did something foolish and got a flag. Right? That's it. This is the post game. Understand what he's saying here. Let me know if you guys can't hear it.
Go right ahead. Ask the question. Vernon just, it was something that I told everybody at the very beginning of the week. I will not tolerate players that think it's about them when it's about the team.
That's a key point.
And we cannot make decisions that cost the team and then come off the sideline and it's nonchalant. No, you know what? This is how I believe, okay? I'm from the old school. I believe this. I would rather play with 10 people and just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else, rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. It is more about them than it is about the team. Cannot play with them. Cannot win with them. Cannot coach with them. Can't do it. I want winners. I want people that want to win.
Classic.
That is Shannon Sharpe's mentality. Right there summed up. Now, overall different circumstances, but we've been comparing, we've been comparing scenarios, right? That right there, and you can say, well, it was for the team. No, because at that moment, it was about the individual. It was about the running back getting a touchdown. That's what it was about. For whatever reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll pause there. I think this is where, because Shannon Sharpe came from this football, right? He was drafted in 89 or 90, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is his mentality. He wants a winning mentality. As he described, you want a team mentality.
Mm-hmm.
That right there, you're showing blatant disregard. I don't care how you feel for him. And like I said, there's no benefit to it. Absolutely none. I'm telling you, it's going to cost Jameson his career in his football. I almost guarantee it.
I think
I am not, as a manager, as a GM, as a head coach, if I have a choice, I need a second, third string, or first string quarterback. Guess who I'm not going to pick up? The guy who went against his coach. That's like saying, hey, look, you just stole $50 from your previous employer, and you want me to hire you? No, thank you.
I think two things. I think if a team or a coach was not interested in Jameis Winston before Sunday, they weren't going to be interested in him after Sunday either way. Right? I think that's fair to say. Right? That would be the first thing. I think the second piece of it is we are in a slightly different age, where yes, you do it for the team, but the individuals got to look out for themselves as well. Like when and we see this all the time with contract negotiation and contract disputes, and you hear fans say, "Oh, why is he being so greedy?" Well, I can promise you, the person signing the check is going to make a lot more money in their lifetime than this guy is. Yeah. That's why they're being the way they are. They have to be this way. It's a business.
Didn't each team get, was it $300 million for the TV contract? All 32 teams?
Yeah, it's usually revenue sharing. Yes, which is, as you know, is significantly more than the salary cap.
Yes.
So
okay. 100,000% agree.
Yes. So I do think there's a certain thing there where we talk about the individualism in team sports, right? It's yes, you put on the uniform, you go out, you play for this team, blah, blah, blah. But individually, there are certain things that come with that. And again, I think the only issue had they said, and again, everybody who's played sports, and that's why I made the comparison to the kid who's worked hard all season, who's not gotten a chance, the Rudy, if you will, of it. Taj, I hope you know who Rudy is. But yeah, but the Rudy.
Pause for that real quick. Taj, do you know what the movie Rudy is about? What Rudy is?
The Rudy? Nah.
You never seen Rudy? It's like an inspirational sports movie. You should watch it one time. It's it came out in the 90s. It's based on a true story, by the way. Yeah. But
once again, though,
yeah.
It wasn't done out of victory formation.
No. But and again, I agree with that point. But again, and I want people to understand the reason why it was done out of victory formation, and the only reason why it was done out of victory formation is because of Dennis Allen. That's the only reason.
But you and I, we just heard. But real quick, salute to brother Amari. Brother, good to see you. Or good to
salute, brother. I hope you there.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely, man. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, brother. Salute. Looking forward to the wire draft tomorrow, if we have it, because you and your girl. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, I don't even know what's going on next year.
Yeah.
By the way, though, I have traveled more times to South Texas than I care to remember, bro. Literally. But that's neither here nor there. All right, so I guess, like I said, you're not going to be on. Actually, J-Mac is on your side with this, and he agrees with a lot of your points as well when it comes to, hey, look, the only issue is he did it out of victory formation. And that there is the crux of my problem. And I believe that's the crux of Janet Sharp's problem. It's like, look here, guys, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. You can't do that, bro, because there, like I said before, I don't know if those guys were all first stringers. I don't know. I don't care. Actually, I do care. But if those guys are the second and third stringers, there was more harm done than good. You literally are telling, based upon your arguments that you just had, right? All 11 guys are behind. All 10 guys behind Jameson. They had his back. It was a good job. No, well, you might not have a fucking job tomorrow, or next week, or next year, because of you guys thinking about the individual and not about the team. That's I can't get that. I cannot get that. And then, like I said, I wouldn't have been mad. Hey man, you know what? Hey guys, let me call timeout. All of us come over here. We're gonna all talk to Dennis or whatever his name is, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
And we're all gonna say, hey coach, we want to do this for them. We understand what it might sound like, but we all want this. It didn't happen. That, sir, is the problem. That right there shows dissension among the ranks. Whether you agree with this or not, I don't care. It shows that, hey, look, It's instead of the coach doing the 2 middle fingers to fucking the other coach on the other side. No, you did it to your own self. You shot your own self off in the foot.
Well, again, I think you know my favorite movie. One of my favorite movies from the '90s is Half Baked, and the scene when old boy quits the job at the fast food restaurant. You know,
Do we find the clip?
you don't have to find the clip. It's fine. Yeah, you don't have to find the clip. But no. I mean, I think I think short of Dennis Allen getting fired on Monday or Tuesday or hopefully this week, and I've never prayed for somebody to get fired more than I prayed for this guy to get fired.
Jeez.
Excuse me. I think Jameis and a lot of those guys know they're not going to be back next year, right? They're not going to be back if he's the head coach.
Fair.
So again, the problem, and again, I think my whole point is I didn't like it being done out of victory formation, but I know why it was done out of victory formation.
But there were so many different avenues that the men took.
But again, my thing would have been is taking the time out and going to talk. I mean, there's an old expression my grandfather told me a long time ago. He said, "A dog don't bark at cars that ain't going nowhere." Excuse me. Perhaps, just maybe, in the time that he's been there with DA as the head coach, perhaps they realize that's just a dog that's not going anywhere. He doesn't adjust. He doesn't do anything, where that inspires. He's not that type of guy. He's not, that's not who he is. So maybe the reason why they didn't do what you're suggesting, because I agree, that could have been a way to handle it, is because they realized that car wasn't going nowhere.
I got you, brother. I got you. And like you said, we agree on the fact that it was done. It was done in poor taste because it was done out of the victory formation. Where you and I differ, and where I guess I side with Shannon Sharpe on this issue, and where you side with the players in this issue, is that hey, one, there's no benefit. You took a risk, and you're risking and you're risking other people's jobs. Okay, I got you. Maybe everybody that's on the field like they said, I agree. But usually, you've been in enough situations. Everybody's been in enough situations where if you're in a group of people of 11, 11 coworkers, whatever like that, you're in your department, and once the first 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 start going through it, you're gonna fall in line. That's just peer pressure. In sports is super masculine. But then you could just say, like I said before, hey, time out. Hey, we're all going around there. I think the pressure of having 11 black motherfuckers who weigh 230 plus pounds and can snap you like a twig and say, hey, you know what? Hey, coach, we really want to do this. We know what you said, but we'd like to consider it. He may have said no, but then at that point in time, say, hey, coach, we're going to do it anyway. We're going to let Power I.
Yes.
And fuck it.
Now,
go ahead.
Yeah, but also understand, Cisco, I'm an anarchist, so I don't really, I'm not one of those people who just seize the power. You can kiss my ass. I'm sorry. I don't see the power on any level. That's me. So it comes from that perspective as well. That I don't care who you are, or what position you hold. That don't make you right. So that's part of my thing. So please know that's where I come from in that space. But also, again, I think about it as these are grown men, to your point, who get paid a lot of money to play a kid's game. And there's still always that little kid inside of them who wants to score a touchdown. And the fact that they had this guy who, again, led the league in touchdown rushes last year, who has not scored a touchdown all season, again, I think that's the only reason why it happens. And again, where I think Jameis probably isn't getting enough praise is he took the bite for it. Like, he may have cost himself an opportunity there in New Orleans in the future.
And NFL.
Well, no, I mean, again, it's 32 teams, right?
Yeah, for sure.
There's not 64 quarterbacks better than Jameis Winston, right? Yeah. We know that. There's barely 32 starting quarterbacks that's better than Jameis Winston, if we're being honest.
I can't agree with that, but go ahead.
No, I mean, we just look around the league. You're not telling me Sam Howell's better than Jameis Winston. We're not doing it.
He's starting.
Just because you're the starter don't mean you're the best. You've been in relationships with.
There's some backups, that could be capable of being better than starters in the league.
Right. I mean,
Wait, have backups not won Super Bowls?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has not the last man picked in a draft had success? Is he better than Jameis Winston?
Or is it just, or is he in a great situation? I think both
If
things.
you're in the same situation, that should flop. But go ahead.
I think both things can be true. We've seen guys have great success in that situation, is all I'm saying. So again, I'm not saying I don't think he's cost himself in the NFL. I think again, before Sunday, there was no head coach that was like, oh yeah, I'm going to give Jameis Winston a call, and after this week, I'm not going to call him this offseason. No, I think if you were interested in Jameis Winston, you still are, because again, you're not looking at that one thing and saying, oh, this is the sum total of who he is, particularly when, again, I think he was hilariously eloquent explaining exactly why they did what they did. And again, if you're a head coach and you got a question about it, when you bring him in or when you'll sit down and have a conversation about it. And you'll, again, you may not agree, but perhaps you'll find some something in the pool of understanding.
Yeah, common ground. I got you. I understand that. All right, I think we can agree to disagree once again, as we do often many times.
Right.
Except when it comes to Batman. I think
Yes, except that Robert Pattinson is the best Batman in the last century. But that's neither here nor there.
We'll make sure we cover that. That's all good.
Yeah.
All right. So to change topics, and because I'm not in tune, if you would, with all the hip hop stuff, right? I'd like to get your thoughts on Cat Williams. Todd, you want to go first, bro?
No, I'm good on that.
Am I too late to the game? Am I too late, sir? Sean, what are your thoughts on is he the woe is me? And what did you think of Ludacris's response?
I think when somebody says something directly, I don't necessarily like cryptic responses. I prefer the direct response.
Are you saying Luda didn't do a direct response?
I think his response could have been more direct. Right. I think there were some people who did respond directly, and I think there's some who were more cryptic in their response. Salute, brother.
Brother Omar, what's going on, sir?
Salute. Hello, it was no low shot, brother. I gotta give you a hard time. You're in a relationship now, so I gotta give you a hard time. So
yeah, I know, man. She keeping me away from the YouTube experience, but I'm trying to come back now. We making an arrangement. I'm a live stream from her place now.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. So now at least I'm always in her presence.
Yeah, there you go. All right, there you go. Yeah. Well, no, I want to pause because I want to hear Brother O's thoughts on the whole Cat Williams thing.
Oh, dang, I can't even be here that long for that, son. But I'll get something quick because I'm moving around. Well, I just wanted to come in and say, man, I'm glad to see y'all brothers back on. We missed you. Space really needs y'all, man. And so, look, it's been a long time coming. We know what's happening in our hearts. But it's always good to see the band back together, man. So I'm ready for 2024 to see the content y'all gonna bring, and y'all hopefully this year y'all get y'all just due. With that being said, though, Cat Williams thing, man, look, I agree with some of his premise, things that he said, particularly about Hollywood, right? Now, the personal ad hominems on comedians, I'm not gonna get into that because I don't know. Like, again, I don't know what the brotherhood like in the comedic world. I heard that he crossed the line with some of the things he said as far as outing another comedian brother. I heard others say he was writing to Zach because, hey, man, this was done. Now, that Bernie Williams part, I'm totally 100% behind him with that. Steve Harvey, he stole Mark Curry's stuff.
Yes.
He did what he did to Bernie. Like, that's just the facts of the matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not even a secret at this point. I think that's been a topic of conversation since Bernie pretty much passed, even right before Bernie passed, but especially since he passed.
Mhm.
Cat is a very super intelligent brother, man. Like, I don't think people understand how intelligent he is. He's one of the most intellectual beings on this planet. So as far as what he did, do I agree with it or not? To be honest with y'all, I don't care one way. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining and it was informative. I learned some things in that interview. And so I think it's just good going forward for the comedic world. Like, if you have a problem, that means better jokes gonna come. So get on the stage and prove Cat wrong. That's simple. That's what I'm looking. So I'm looking for the tour dates for everybody. That's it.
That's pretty good. That's a good way to actually kind of drum it up. But if you want to talk sports, so we can definitely do it. Now I can't promise that U3 Sports is back on. I just can't do it. With my schedule the way it is, and the J-Max schedule the way it is, Shauna has his commitments that he's doing right now. So there's no promise to 2024 as of yet. But you never can tell these days.
Well, only for one night then. Dang.
No, I mean, listen, it's hard to get the Temptations, on the same schedule, brother. Sometimes David Ruffin got stuff going on. Sometimes Dennis Edwards got stuff going on. Paul Williams, Eddie Kendricks, my cousin. But no, in all seriousness, no. I mean, Cisco called me earlier and said, "Hey, I'm gonna jump on. You want to jump on?" I said, "Absolutely." And you never know. There might be some pop-ups here and there. When schedules align. Hopefully, get J Mac when his schedule, all our schedules can align and we can do something, or whatever from time to time. But
Sure.
We'll see.
Yeah, I called J Mac as well, and J Mac, he was literally on his way to work. So it was just kind of spur of the moment. We had all the information was coming in. I was like, you know what, let me talk to this. I talked to Sean yesterday about Shannon Sharpe and his take on Jameis Winston. I talked to Sean. I talked to J Mac earlier today, and they're both very similar, and I was in disagreement with both of them. But if you want to think about the sports, sir, did you hear Shannon Sharpe's comments, and do you disagree or agree? Because you are an employer, you have your own company, so I'm definitely interested in hearing your take on that.
I didn't hear all of it coming, but I heard. I mean, obviously, it's hard not to hear. But I haven't heard the whole context to it. But for the little glimpse that I did see, look, I just disagree with Shannon on that one. It's not okay. I heard both of y'all just speaking, so I agree with both sides, right? You got to have a hierarchy, right? Obviously, when you're dealing with an organization of any kind and any insubordination, you don't want to tolerate it per se. I do think in team concept, though, it is slightly different because typically a coach would acquiesce to what the team wants, right? And this was it was a selfless move because if I remember correctly, Jameis said, "Hey, look, our guy, he had 17 touchdowns the year before. This year he had 0. We wanted to get him in the end zone, right? As a team, we wanted to do this for this individual. I don't know if the individual came up to him, said anything per se, but collectively, Jameis said, look, we made a decision. And whether you agree or disagree with how he went about the decision, I can understand that. But I don't think this should cost him a job going forward. It's not like he said, hey, the hell with coach, man, and then the other 10 guys, man, I'm going to run this play the way I want to do it. From my gathering, 10 other guys said, let's do it for this guy. Whether that be contractual reasons or whatever, or just a feel-good story. They said as a team, man, we're making a decision to do something. And I don't think nobody in the organization, particularly player-wise, had a problem with it. It's just the optics look bad. And so the coach probably getting fired because the team is unsuccessful this year. They underachieved. And so it's some fallout, but I don't agree with Shannon because we've heard other stories with quarterbacks and players at 86, the coaches out there and ran a play, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. I think Jameis Winston is just, again, a product of his own other social media, the eating the W's and some of the other things that he's done. It didn't look well, but I don't know. I just don't have a problem with it. And if I did have a problem, I wouldn't take it to this extreme measure with Shannon saying, like, I wouldn't want him on my team as a quarterback. Like, okay, you don't like it, and you want to give him some type of punitive damage or something, punish him, sit him out a week or two next year, whatever. But this shouldn't be, a scar on his career going forward till nobody want to pick him up. Because he didn't make a decision by himself. It was 10 other guys that said, we with you.
So I guess that's where
that's the case, and nobody on that team should have a career going forward. My bad. Say that again, Cisco.
No, I was saying that's where I kind of disagree with you on that one, at that junction, because you always have your heads. He is the voice of the coach on the field. He is the leader of those 10 other guys on the field, and when that leader wants to do something, then yeah, you're gonna kind of fall in line. So I just like I said, to me, I didn't see the overall benefit in it. I don't know, there was a contract to say, hey, if you get this many career touchdowns, you get an extra $1 million or $200,000 or $10,000 bonus. I understand you came from, you didn't have. I don't know, was it a trade that he got there, or did he sign as a free agent?
Signed as a free agent.
Okay, so that's even worse, because you know what you're going against. You're going against Alvin Kamara. You're going against that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
for whatever reason, Kamara, if he's out or like that, I got you. Or whatever I got you.
So just for clarity, for
Sure.
point of clarity, so Alvin Kamara was suspended the first 3 weeks of the season because of the incident in Vegas, and the Saints usually use multiple backs. Like, they use multiple backs pretty regularly. Like, it was always Ingram and Kamara, and before that it was, Ingram, and you had Pierre Thomas and Darren Sproles, and so they've always used multiple backs. I don't know what they're doing under Pete Carmichael. That's another conversation. But so I think he went there understanding, hey, yeah, listen, this is a team that uses multiple backs. I'm going to get to play. I'm going to get to still be fairly productive, and things like that. But I think what's interesting, right, is, and Brother O brought up a good point about, quarterbacks are overriding coaches all the time. Like, and again, the victory formation thing, again, was not a fan of it being done in victory formation, just for clarity. But I've seen literally, like, number 18 literally tell the punt team, get y'all back on the sideline. We're going for this, when the coach is sitting in the punt team. You know what I mean? Like, we see. That's
not an app comparison, bro. You can't. You can't make that comparison.
No. But I'm saying, but we've seen coaches quarterbacks override coaches all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not. So it's not uncommon. Again, there's a certain leeway that you tend to give the quarterback that everybody else doesn't give, because again, the quarterback is often the one who has to stand up and take ownership or blame for something that happens, even if it's not their fault necessarily. So I think that's kind of the other side of it. Now, again, the reason why nobody's going to talk about this in this situation is because Dennis Allen and Jameis Winston they're not simpatico at all, which is why you go give Derek Carr $150 million.
Come on, Derek Carr's the president guy. Come on, man.
I mean, he's a mid quarterback. I mean, let's just be honest. So that's all I'm saying. So yeah. So I think that was a good point, brother, about quarterback, getting leeway that other positions don't get.
Yeah, but it ain't the starting quarterback. I mean, it ain't the backup. It ain't the backup.
When you're in the game,
right? The field, right? I got you. But once again,
and again,
it's not like it's a game-winning drive or decision to something like that. That doesn't equate.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So say there's a guy who, and again, is 5 yards from 1,000 yards.
Okay.
You're up 40 points in a game.
Uh-huh.
Most teams would say, "Oh, don't throw the ball. We just run the clock." But this guy is 5 yards from 1,000 yards receiving.
Right.
So what's the difference?
I guess it would be more apt if he was 5 yards away and the end zone would be there, right? That's more of, I guess, apples comparison.
Perhaps, maybe, yeah. Perhaps, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna give you that one, right? So there are several things that come into factor, right? You know, has this guy worked his ass off? Has this guy been first one in, first one out? Is this guy the team captain? Is this guy, if he's not the team captain or whatever like that, but if you're saying 1,000 yards, then I mean, obviously he's a starter. Okay, I got you. Yeah, if those factors come into play, I'm gonna be like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, excuse me. You know what? Yeah, he needs 5 yards. And if the end zone happens to be at the end of that 5 yards for him to get that bonus plus a touchdown, yeah, I'm doing it. But you know what I'm not doing? I'm not doing it in victory formation. And I'm doing it upon the blessing of my coach, because he is ultimately the one that's responsible. He is the one that is ultimately going to stay on the red carpet. He is ultimately going to be the one that's going to have to answer the tirade of questions.
Right, which is fine. So again, that's part of what we said earlier about part of leadership. Sometimes you got to fall on the sword.
No. That's falling on the sword.
No. It's you publicly fall on the sword, right? You say, hey, listen, no, listen, hold on. You don't throw your guys under the bus.
You just threw me under the bus.
Hold on. He didn't throw him under the bus.
That's literally the definition of throwing somebody under the bus by disregarding what they're saying.
Somebody under the bus when literally he said, hey, listen, we apologize. We wanted to get this guy this touchdown, right? It's different if you go up and you say, well, you know what, hey, you know, whatever. No, if you say, yes, we apologize to DA, but we want to get this guy this touchdown, that's not throwing somebody under the bus. When I'm talking about throwing somebody under the bus, I'm saying you get in front of the press and again, in front of the press, in front of the media, because again, those 53 guys in that locker room are watching you and they're hearing what you're saying. You could have walked out of there and walked in that locker room with it'd be like, man, DA did something you did not expect him to do. DA fell on the sword publicly. Now I know when he comes in the locker room, he may have something to say about it. That's between us. Because again, the decision was made between us.
Like you're assuming everybody's a Pete Carroll, everybody's Mike Tomlin.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's a reason why those guys last as long as they do. You know this. There's a reason why when you hear guys talk about those guys, and I don't know if you saw, but Amy Trask, who used to be the CEO of the Raiders, she has a podcast with Susie Schuster, who is Rich Eisen's wife, called What the Football. And she talked about this today. She had Susie Schuster asked her about this, and there's a clip going around of Amy Trask talking about Dennis Allen as a head coach because she was with him his first year in Oakland, and it was very telling. It was very telling.
Oh, you know, we can find that, and just put that way we can kind of run it, and we're gonna hit it by YouTube. You know, fuck it.
And tell you due to the kiss it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but to put in context, right? And I know we're going back to the topic, and this may be one of the more hidden. You know, it's been a while, you know. But I understand Chris Jones being in the game for his $1 million sack. That makes sense to me. He's the leader of the team. He works. He made a sacrifice. We're gonna get this guy his money. Mind you, if during that sack he fucking snaps his leg, I don't think it was a good decision. It may have been something different. But I don't know, man. I just don't see the benefit of it. Like if all those were in play, money, we promised him something or like that. Blah 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 blah. I got it. No worries there. But if you're asking me to fall on the sword that I didn't place there, because every sword that I fell on, I knew about it. I could predict it because it was a decision that at the end of the day I was okay with. No matter if it was not my original decision. Or if my team said, hey, Sarge, we think this would be the best way to do this. Okay, no worries. I can do that. That's no problem. But when you tell me, right, we're in the Army, what about that? You tell me, hey, we're going to do this, and you end up getting fucked up. Oh, no, I'm not following that sword. Because then at the same time, no matter what, it's a lose-lose for me.
Right. But in this instance, nobody got hurt. Now, if somebody had gotten hurt, that's a whole different conversation. Now I'm going back to Yeah.
Saints versus
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. If somebody got hurt, I would totally be like, oh yeah, now that's where it becomes a problem, right? Because we've seen guys fire off from the defensive line in victory formation, right, and potentially hurt somebody, and that created a problem. So I agree with you on that point. But if and I don't want to live in the if game because if it was a fifth, we'd be drunk. At the end of the day, no one got hurt. The only person who was butt hurt was Arthur Smith at the end of the day. And he was getting fired regardless. So, that late touchdown didn't decide his job fate one way or the other. And I understand the coaches, have a this fraternity and blah, blah, blah. But, at the end of the day, fraternity is fraternity. If you don't like something we're doing, stop it.
I found the clip. It's about 4 minutes long. So you don't mind, I'm going to bring it up and because I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, okay, yeah, please. Yeah,
cool. All
yeah.
right, real quick. Don't worry. Give me a second. Shut up.
And I've got to run in like 15 minutes. So.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, for sure, man. Then we'll cut it short there real quick, and then we'll go from there, bro. For sure. Present. All right.
Hey, sis, go. If you ever can, man, try to come catch one of them drafts, man. We need you.
Is this Saturday, you said?
Was
it this Saturday?
No, tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't got to be that one. I'm just saying, we miss your personality, man. We need you in the draft.
Yeah,
for sure, sir. Yes, sir.
You should have been there for the Marvel versus DC draft. I would.
Oh my God, I'd have crushed everybody. There's no who. I don't know who may have thought they won, but there's no way.
I forgot who did win. Sean, did you watch it?
I think Sturdy won, didn't he?
What did he do?
Man, we had like 18 people in that draft, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of people in that one.
Wait, would you guys use Mortal Kombat or something like that as a simulation or something like that?
No, we just did a Marvel versus DC. We just drafted DC and Marvel characters.
Oh my God!
And we voted on who had the best starting 5 or 8. Man, I think we did 8 to 10 draft.
Yeah, I did that one, but I did watch it. Yeah.
Did anybody draft Galactus?
Yes.
Okay, somebody knows they're doing. Did you? Oh, that's good. Okay, not bad. All right, here we go.
We got more coming up. We got a cartoon.
Does this happen to a team where a quarterback basically gives his head coach the middle finger?
In what world? When your head coach is Dennis Allen. Susie, I'm speaking from experience. As you know, I overlapped with Dennis Allen in Oakland for 1 year. And everything I observed during that year is such that when that play happened, I wasn't the least bit surprised. Now, if it happened to any other coach, I would have been surprised. It happened and Dennis was the coach. I was not the least bit surprised. Shortly after Dennis was hired by the Saints, I was asked about him, about his coaching, his leadership on CBS Sports, on that other pregame show, CBS Sports Network. And I answered in the following manner because now I have an addition to that answer. I shared my views of Dennis's leadership, and I use that word in quotes, while he was with the Raiders. And I quickly noted that, look, we can all learn on the job, we can grow on the job, we can improve on the job. I not only grew on my job, I grew up on the job. I grew up on the job, I learned, I made mistakes, and I said, Dennis can do that as well. And what that play made clear to me is he has not changed his leadership style. So was I surprised that that happened? I may have been one of the only people who was not surprised that happened.
Okay, so what do you know that we don't know?
Well, I observed him for a year. I don't know if it was 12 months, but it was.
Okay, so the ex-CEO. Well, let me play this part.
Yeah, I want you to hear this part. Let's hear this part.
Oh, my bad.
Obviously for a full season in Oakland. Day one, he's hired, calls a staff meeting or asks that a staff meeting be called of every single person in the organization. And everyone was so excited, and every single department, coaching, trainers, equipment, tickets. I made sure every business department was there. The auditorium was packed. And he got up and he was really rude. Not only didn't he demonstrate leadership to enthuse the staff and to excite the staff and to lead the staff, he was demeaning, he was derisive, and people walked out of that room just stunned.
Can you give some specifics? Because now I'm fascinated to know.
Just for the sake of time, though, real quick. All right, so he sounds like he's a coach off the Belichick tree. That's what it sounds like. If you want to be truthful, right? That's what he sounds like. Somebody who's demeaning, divisive, thinks their shit don't stink. But however, I must play this to kind of say, hey, when you saw me, like, I think this is doable. I thought I was timing for that one.
Shout out to him, baby. Hey, might go first in the draft tomorrow. Who knows? Hey,
It might, very well might. Yeah. No, I mean, but Cisco, I mean,
Right.
that's very telling to me.
I got you.
Yeah.
But an ex-CEO who doesn't have a job right now, who is bitter and might blame the coach for her losing her job. Okay, I got that part.
Well, she didn't lose
Or
it.
maybe she's tired. I don't know her story.
Yeah.
But for me, like I said, it's still about, whatever you may think. My point is there were better ways to execute said move.
And again,
he didn't do it. And it wasn't done with good taste.
Yeah,
if
and
you
again,
want me to fall on the sword, that's not gonna happen. Bro.
Yeah, no. And again, I think it's everybody. If you work many places, I've had some really good bosses. I've had some not so good bosses, and that's me being nice. I've had some complete F-tards as bosses, and I will say your names in the future. Don't worry, you just keep listening. The point is that I think what happens, and again, this goes back to one word for me: culture. Right? The culture of togetherness, the culture of oneness, the culture of we do this, we ride together, we die together, bad boys for life. I think that's where you can tell there's an absolute disconnect. And your culture often starts with your head coach. Now, I'm going to step out on a limb step out on a limb and say people talk about Belichick in a certain way, right? What is very interesting is I've heard players talk about, and I know one in particular because I'm a friend of a friend that played for the Patriots.
I know you're talking about.
That talked about playing for Belichick, but particularly playing in that system where they didn't generally like player input. It was like, this is just the way we do it. That's it. That's a very, very antiquated way of operating in 2024, right? It's, the team of us, we're all in this together. We all bring our input. We all bring a certain experience or something. And at the end of the day, all of that is welcome because that makes us all better, right? If you are the type of person who's leading and you say, well, hey, no, this is just it. This is the way I do it. You're going to find yourself by yourself. And
that's what she is right now.
So she was the CEO of the Raiders. She was hired by Al Davis in the 80s. She retired as the CEO of the Raiders, and now she's an analyst for CBS Sports and does that podcast and things like that. She's actually really nice, by the way. I've conversed with her on Twitter, so she's really super nice. And that's generally not how she speaks when she's talking about something. So for her to use the terms that she was using, that was very telling for me. But again, this is somebody I follow. So
I got you. And I got you. Don't disagree. And all that's true. And that all can be factual. I don't know. I'm not in the building. I understand that. And if however you want to do it, you got to do it. But, sir, we at least agree on one part.
Right.
It was done in the wrong formation.
Yeah. No, listen, not disputing that. But again, that said, I know why it was done in that formation.
I got you, sir.
That's all.
I got you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 minutes left. Sean, Brother Omari, if you guys got anything you guys want to say before you guys log off, whatever like that, the floor is yours, gentlemen.
I just want to say school lunch is still official. That's it.
Nothing. I'm just glad to have this one night, man. If it's only for one night, or we get 2 or 3 more nights out of the year with this. This was nostalgic right here. This is nostalgic. It was good, and I'm just glad to see whether the show is going on or not. I'm just glad to see the brothers are still going strong off the camera. So that's the most beautiful thing about all this. Forget U3 is one thing, but the brotherhood that y'all share is another. So if that's still intact, man, I'm with it.
For sure, absolutely. I like that. I talk to Sean, I talk to J-Mac weekly, multiple times a week sometimes, just to say what's up and just to get their opinion on certain things. And we still argue all the time, but like I said, guys, there's so much content today, and I talked to the brothers prior to this, and I was like, you know what? Let me just fire it up. I happen to have a little bit of cognac on the way back from work, so that probably helped me out right there, sir. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. It's all good. No telling we'll be back. You never can't tell. But thank you for enjoying the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is U3 Sports. We're out.
Deuces.